slave trading was ongoing before Asante came into being. If you want to get an expanded kingdom or whatever, you need to get guns. And this ammunition could be bought from the Europeans, the Portuguese, and the rest. So Asante had no choice. And the only way you can get them is to exchange. When, because at that time, the West Indies needed people to work for them. Even it came to the time that even the product that we were selling, if Asante was not connected, they will not buy. Asante became so powerful to the extent that it attracted the attention of the foreigners. The history of Ghana is incomplete
without Asante.
Because Asante is older than Ghana.
Hi everyone, today I'm here in Kumasi in the Ashanti region and the Manshia Palace Museum to be specific. And I'm here with Mr. Brobe, Justice, or Mr. Justice Brobe. He's been here and I think I would like him to introduce himself. And today we are going to dive deep into the Ashanti Kingdom. So, Mr. Brobe.
Yeah.
Our viewers, everybody wants to know you. So, if you can introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Justice Brobe, the curator at Manshia Palace Museum. I've been working here for the past 15 years, but I've been at Manshia Palace for 23 years. So, yes, what we do, we welcome visitors to Manshia Palace Museum. Manshia Palace Museum is a place where you come, you listen, you see artifacts relating to the history, the culture, the tradition of Asante people. So if you want an authentic history of Asante, it's better you come to Manshia Palace Museum.
Wow.
It's open to the public 7 days a week, Monday to Sunday, between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m.
Okay, beautiful. So when I started this journey of exploring history and bringing to light what a lot of us don't know, and every time is new for me. So today we are going to really deep dive into the history of the Ashanti. So now the first question I want to ask is that the Ashanti seems to be, it's not even it seems to be, it's one of the biggest kingdoms in Africa, in the world, in Ghana, and it's also one of the stable kingdoms. If you can, I'm just trying to think, why does it seem to be so stable?
Yes, they say life is a process. Asante started as a small city-state. Very humble beginning, was under a powerful kingdom called Denchira in the central region. These small groups, which paid homage to Denchira people, for some time became fed up because of the arrogance, the oppression, the maltreatment of this kingdom. So these small states decided that it's better you come together, then we fight for our independence. Because it has been long since we remained vassalage to the Denchira Kingdom.
Okay.
So Asante started with a strong belief that once we come together, there's nothing that we can't achieve in life. So all of them agreed and they formed a nation which has remained formidable till now because of the understanding, because of the sacrifices that they made, because they made it their mind to make sure that the confederacy worked to the end.
Okay. So I want to find out, during the time of Denchira, like where you were paying homage to Denchira, was this your land?
Yes, Asante started, like if you trace the origin of Asante, Asante is not a tribe. Asante is a union of tribes that came together to form a nation some years back.
Okay.
And if you trace the origin, Asante came all the way from the Canaan area. Canaan. In the Mesopotamia.
Canaan in Israel.
Yes, Israel.
That's where Asantes came
yes,
from.
I will explain.
Okay.
Then they moved to Abyssinia, which is now Ethiopia.
Okay.
Then they come to the Songhai Empire, the Mali. If you have read about Mansa Musa,
Yes.
was very rich in gold,
Yes.
the whole of Africa. And the kingdom collapsed. Some of the remnants moved northwest, moved to Techiman area. Then they settled at Asante Manso. Asante Manso is now the Kokofu Asumenya area.
Okay.
It was that area after the collapse of Asante Manso. Now we got Asumeja. There was a river that those who remained there moved to that area. So Asumeja, and others also continued and moved to Adanse. And finally they settled at Kwaman, now Kumasi.
Okay. So those who settled in Kumasi, formerly Kwaman, they were paying homage to the Denchira people.
So what happened was that they never settled at a vacant area. They came, met some people who were already living in this area.
Okay.
So the Ayoko people, they moved from Kokofu, Adanse. Then they realized that this place is a fertile area for settlement.
Okay.
So
the Ayoko people, were they also Asantes?
There are Ayoko, initially the Ayoko people who formed Asante. Then later on other tribes also joined.
Okay.
So if you look at the migration, you see that the Ayoko, the Kokofu people who moved, and because after the collapse of Asante Manso, they needed a suitable place to settle. So one of the Ayoko ladies or woman was a trader, was a businesswoman who recommended this area for his brother Kwabia Memfi, and Kwabia Memfi.
Okay.
And they are all Ayokos. You know, sometimes when you are tracing the kings of Asante, they begin from Kwabia Memfi, Chumuni Entry. Chumuni Entry.
Is it Chum or Chim?
Chum, like your name.
Like my name. Okay.
Yeah, Chum ni Entry.
That could be my great grandfather.
Chum and Entry.
Okay.
Kwabia Memfi, Oti Akenten, Obri Yebua.
Okay.
They finally was 82.
Okay.
So they were all Ayoko people. So when they settled at this place, because this place was ruled by the Denchira people, automatically they have become part of the kingdom.
Okay.
So he had no choice but to pay homage to Denchira.
To the Denchira people.
So,
I now understand. No, I just was...
Yeah, they continued life and started building alliances with those who were already here.
Okay.
So they realized that the oppression, the maltreatment, and the arrogancy of Denchira was too much for them.
Okay.
So Obri Yeboah had a dream that the Nananum told him, if you are to free yourself from these people, then we need alliance. You have to work with others. And he was able to win the heart of those who were here. And so they started a loose confederacy.
Okay, so which people were here?
We have other tribes, the clans, Aduana people. You see, Aduana people, there was one, today's Doma people.
Doma. Okay.
Doma people were also at the Asante Manso.
Asante Manso.
So when Asante Manso collapsed, they moved to here. There was a place called Centreso. So when Obri Yeboah and his men came here, there was this skirmishes between them and Ayoko. So war erupted, and they fought and they drove the Doma people to Abisim, to Wampem, and then they settled at Doma Inko. That is why sometimes the Doma people will say they are Aduana PSA. they are the first Aduana people. Because over there, if you look at the Aduana, they are from Akwamu.
Okay.
They also settled at Asante Maso, and some of them came to Central. So the Ayoko people engaged them with war, and they moved finally to now Doma people.
Okay.
We had the Central, so we have other towns like Tafo was here, Tafo, Buokrum, industrial area, other places that the Ayoko people came to meet.
Okay.
So it wasn't like it was a fallow place, a virgin place. No, people had already settled before the Ayoko people came.
Okay.
So diplomacy, alliances, then they came together to fight for their independence. But Nana Obri Yeboah, in the course of coming together to form a nation, Nana Obri Yeboah passed on. Because Nana Obri Yeboah was chosen as their leader. The Loose Confederacy as a leader.
Okay.
So in the process, through this war with the Doma people, Obri Yeboah passed on. So there was the need for another leader to foment or to make the Confederacy work. Whilst Denchira was the kingdom, you could pick anybody as a page. You could pick anybody to service his court. So as a result, that one of the Asantes, the Ayoko people, or one person called Osekufi, was picked and was serving the court of Denchira, in Tim Jakari's court.
Okay.
For before in Tim Jakari. So it was there that something happened that Osetutu had to run away from the court and settle at Akwamu.
What happened at the court?
At the court, some say there was like immorality, something, but it has to be authenticated. Like Osetutu had impregnated the daughter or the niece of the king.
Okay.
So it was sacrilegious for somebody to do that.
Okay.
So he had to move out. Over there too, he also met the famous Okonfanoche. Was a principal priest to the king. So they became friends. And I've heard there was a sacrifice that needed to be made during their time. And they needed an albino to be sacrificed. And because Okonfanoche's mother was an albino, and fearing that the mother would be killed, he had to run away. Of course, I learned the mother was sacrificed and was not pleased with what happened. And he also had to flip back to where he came from, that is Akwamu.
Okay. So,
Ansasa Sreku, who was the Akwamu Hine, provided a cover for Osetutu. So whilst there that they heard that Obri Yeboah has passed on. So they needed somebody with the leadership skills to continue with the Confederacy. So Osetutu and his friend Konfanoche agreed to accompany Osetutu to Kwaman. So when the two came, still the Confederacy was without a leader. And Okonfanoche, because of their experiences at the court of Denchira, they worked together to change things. So the advice was that the capital, Kwaman, there was the need to make the Confederacy stronger. So what he did was that he also called a meeting of all the states who formed that loose Confederacy.
Okay.
And also advised them, encouraged them the need to continue the Confederacy. So he said that in order to give them the new identity, there was the need to choose a capital, to change the name Kwaman. So the name Kwaman was changed to Kumasi, and they needed a capital, and so they chose Kumasi as the capital. And Still, Okofanatu said that was not enough. There was the need for symbol of unity. So, which will always remind them of the Confederacy.
Symbol of unity.
Symbol of unity.
Okay.
So the symbol of unity, nobody had any idea, but Okofanatu said he would talk to the gods. So, and he asked them that each one should fast for a period for 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and on that day, the gods will speak. So on Friday, what is Friday, he asked all the Confederacy leadership to meet at now Okofanatu Teaching Hospital. It was a thick forest, virgin forest, and they were going to select a leader to lead. But it was not easy because all the constituent states each one of them was independent.
How many states were there at that time?
At that time, 8. Yeah.
8 states.
Yeah.
Can you name the 8 states?
That's what I'm saying. This was one of them. Tafo was one of them. Sintreso, of course.
Okay.
And Bokrum. And even Mampong. That time we had Offenso and other states also there. So these are the states that all the Akan states that were paying homage to Denchra. So they all agreed that on Friday we shall all meet at the place to choose a leader. But the condition was that the gods will speak, and whoever that object or the symbol of unity will land on his laps has been chosen as the head of the Confederacy.
Okay.
And on Friday, everybody was in a state of expectancy. They met, Okofanatu performed, and that object descended and landed on the laps of his friend. Was it too? So
what object is that?
It was the Golden Stool.
Sikajwa Kofi. That's why it's called Sikajwa Kofi, because it was on Friday.
Good. The argument people putting up is that because Okofanatu and Kofi were friends, there was no way Okofanatu could have given the stool or the leadership to another person, which I disagree with them. You know, our ancestors, before you are called an ancestor, it means that you might have led a good and exemplary life on this planet.
Okay.
You might have died a natural death. And you must be somebody with a good report.
Okay.
It's like going to heaven, the Christian's heaven.
Yeah.
So nobody gets admission at the place with any lifestyle. So those who are at the Asamado or the ancestral world are people who have been tested, proven that
they are supposed to be at the Asamando. So if you are not proven to be there, where will you be?
You go to other place.
Like
a place like the Christian will say was some gym.
Yes.
A place reserved for the bad people.
So how do the traditional people call it?
We call even those.
I like in social studies that they have someone called Amochi at the gate.
Amochi is the gatekeeper.
Okay.
The gatekeeper. The gatekeeper will make sure that before you enter, you get the right qualification.
Okay.
If not, you'll not be allowed to enter. Those people, their spirit don't get a place to settle. You call them Samantren. These Samantren spirits are spirits whose are people whose spirit did not get admission to the Asamad.
Okay.
Because of the bad nature they led their lives.
Okay.
So until the elders perform rituals, they continue to hunt, hoover around, roaming about. So they don't actually get a place for them.
Okay.
So a place of torment. Unsettled. You will not get a place to settle. Like
those in Asama.
Good. So these people, we see them as the top. So they are not discriminatory. They don't show any partiality. they regard everybody as human being. So there was no way Okofanachi, being a human being, could manipulate them to let the stool sit on the lap of
his friend.
There was no way he could have, because Okofanachi never brought the stool. He was just a medium by which the gods used him.
Okay.
So sometimes we portray Okofanachi as the one who brought it. No, it was just a medium that the gods brought the gold stool.
Okay.
So they could not manipulate. He could not manipulate the gods.
Okay.
So
what year was that?
The year was 1695.
1695.
1695. That was when the 1695. During all this time, they were still under danger.
Okay.
So this 1695 was when they chose a leader. So the understanding was that whoever was privileged to get that object on his lap, all the other chiefs will swear the oath of office, allegiance to him. From today going, you are our leader. So that was the understanding.
Okay.
So when that happened, all of them voluntarily swore the oath of allegiance to Asante.
Okay.
So that's when we had the first Asante
in 1695. Okay.
So
by the name of the first Asante
Osei Tutu. They use his own name.
Okay.
That is his name, Osei Tutu.
Okay.
So Osei Tutu Opemso, that is the seat on the gold. Osei Tutu. And that was when they had a first. So the previous chiefs, we don't see them as Asante.
Okay.
We saw them as the leaders who led
different. Okay. Right.
So now we had a leader. Now we have the symbol of unity. And before even the gold stool descended, Okofanachi asked them, those chiefs that represented their communities, that whenever they were coming, they were supposed to bring their stool.
Okay.
The black stools of each constituency. So all of them brought it. And when the gold stool descended at the exact spot, he dug a big hole and buried all the black stools.
Okay.
And covered it and planted a sword on it. Why did he bury or ask them to bring their black stools? You see, the black stools identifies or tells the history that this particular person has been on the throne before. So even if we don't remember the name of the person or your grandfather, when you go to the stool room, the fact of the stool tells the history that once upon a time, Kofi Menu was a chief.
Okay.
So that gives the family the audacity to claim that stool.
Okay.
So without the black stool, there's no way you can say my great grandfather has been on the throne before. What shows?
Okay.
So in order to avoid
future
succession challenges, so that nobody will say that, oh, we were also once
or two. So they buried all
of them. So nobody has any history.
Okay.
That is the beginning of Asante. That is the beginning of Asante.
So before the beginning of Asante, they buried their history.
No, you are right.
They buried the
backstory, everything.
And then it's okay, let's bury it.
Yes.
Now we are starting the whole kingdom.
You are right.
So this is it. So whoever has not sat on this before, you can't claim that. Okay.
And there was also another understanding is that this new beginning, we are in the future, when the seat of the king becomes vacant, the succession will come from the Oyoko family.
The Oyoko family.
The Oyoko family in Kumasi.
Okay. Not the Oyoko family in Koforidua.
No, the Oyoko family in even though they are from Okokufu.
Okay.
But when the seat of Asante becomes vacant, Kokofu cannot contest.
Okay.
We are talking of those in Kumasi.
Okay.
So that was another condition.
Okay.
That is why when the seat of Asante becomes vacant, even though it was formed by different, the Ayoko, the Bretio, the Asuna, the Asechiri, the Rat, whatever, nobody from Asechi family or Ayoko family, Bretio family can contest.
Okay.
Because that was the understanding.
Okay. And they all agreed then.
They all agreed.
And that is it.
That is it. Wow. So that is when the sword was placed there because gold could be stolen by anybody. It was open space. If you decide to showcase it or put it in a pocket place, one day it will get missing.
Okay.
So he planted a sword and prophesied that place will be a healing place for millions of people. And of course, the history that we have been told indicated that before even the place was walled, if somebody was sick and accidentally he came into contact with the stool or the sword, the person became automatically healed.
Wow. Is that why the hospital was built there?
Yes. So it was not surprising to us when the government of Ghana in 1954 decided to build a teaching hospital in Kumasi. That place was cited by the contractor, unbeknown of the history behind it. They had not been told about the history that one day,
Okay.
Yeah.
So just decided that's the ideal place.
That's the ideal place.
Wow.
A place where the sword was planted, where the Golden Stool fell.
Okay. Now, after getting this understanding, so the first chief was in 1695.
You're right.
Now, I want us to go back to history again. Okay. So when all this was happening, there is the transatlantic slave trade was also happening.
You're right.
It has started long
time.
before. I think from what I read, it started in the 15th.
Yeah.
I think 1514 or 1512 something. I'm not sure of the exact date.
Yeah.
So the slave trade has started about a century.
Yeah.
Before the formation of the Ashanti Kingdom.
You're right.
So now I want to ask, what role did Ashanti Kingdom play in this business?
Yes, in this business, because right now, when the Golden Stool descended, I prefer calling the Gold Stool.
Okay.
Not the golden. It's not everything golden is gold. So the next thing to do was to fight for their independence. So that was the main reason they came together to free themselves from the domination of the Intra people. So they used about 4 years to prepare for the war. And finally, Asante.
So this 4 years was the Intra aware that Ashantis were
preparing so even when they heard of the Golden Stool, they demanded for it. So they came, the Intra Tim Jakari brought messengers to demand for it. Not only that, he asked that Asante should fill the brass pan that he has brought with gold. And that even the wives, the favorite wives of the king should be brought to him, and he should remove the fingernails and add them and bring them back. In Asante, no deformed person is allowed to occupy the seat. So once you are deformed, automatically he was destooling all the Asante chiefs. And the favorite wife, nobody is prepared to do that. As for the gold, there was no problem because the gold was in abundance.
Okay.
They could have done that. So what Asante did was that the messengers were arrested, beaten, some of them killed, and they filled the brass pan of stones to the king, telling them they were ready to fight. So finally they fought at Feyase, and Asante defeated them in 1701.
Okay.
So that was when we had Ashanti Kingdom.
Kingdom independence.
So now, once Asante had been established, it means that all the vassal states that formerly owe allegiance to the Njira are now become part of Asante. So Asante became big. So the business that was taking place at the Njira, and the capital is here.
Okay.
So those who were selling slaves at the Njira, you have to come here.
They have to come here.
You see, nobody knew how they got their slaves from.
Okay, so I know how some of them got their slaves because I've followed this route for a long time. So if you go to Pikoro, they were Samari, Ture, Bagal, and one guy.
Good.
They were the slave raiders in the Burkina Faso, that enclave. And then they were raiding slaves, camp them at Pikoro, and then march them through the Ashanti region to, what do you call it? To Asem Manso and thereabout. Then when you get to Salaga were, I think, these are all history that I have learned. So Salaga was by, I think the Hauses and the Zambrambes, they were the main slave raiders in that area, enslaving Africans, their brothers, and then selling them. So that is what I heard from that side, right? From that side. But I don't know what happened here. One of the things that I also learned from here is that prisoners of war, and, you know, people that they didn't want to conform to society, they were all sold for slavery because initially they say, or they will kill you and those things. They say that is waste.
Yeah.
So to waste their life, let's sell it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm about to expect from here. So this is what I know for now.
Yeah.
And you tell me what
Asante
happened.
You see, this slave trading was ongoing before Asante came into being.
Yes.
We can't dispute that. And we can also dispute the fact that Asante was also involved.
Okay.
That one, we can't dispute that.
Okay.
But like I was telling you, the market was at a place. It's like
Salaga.
No. Denchra, their capital was I've forgotten the place at Dunkwanofe. They have a name for it.
Okay.
So that was a place that was the biggest, whenever from Salaga or whatever. That is the place that they collect the dues, the taxes and everything. Now, Denchra is collapsed. So now the focus is shifted to Asante. Even it came to the time that even the product that we were selling, if it's Asante was not connected, they will not buy. They will say Asante Mo. How many times? When did Asante start growing rice? Because Asante became so powerful to the extent that it attracted the attention of the foreigners. And at that time, slave trading was at its peak. So the colonizers or the masters will bribe the conscience of the local people to foment trouble so that through that they will arrest and sell them. And because now Asante has become the center, nobody traveled to Saraga without passing here. So now you have no choice but to bring your goods here and sell. So someone that you are talking about from this the French area, they were also doing their own thing. It's like when Nana Mampohene is late. In those times, if it had been those times, they know they will need human beings to accompany him. So as soon as there is announced, they will see bad people involving themselves in it. They also need to do their own thing. So it's not because they are doing it for Mampong, it's barrier, but because their own private thing. Because Mampong is dead, they want to get involved so that we get our own thing. So that was how it was. So Asante never sanctioned that this
Okay.
Yeah, Asante never sanctioned it.
So if I'm right, I may be wrong, but if I'm right, what I'm getting to understand here is that the business originally existed with the Dintra controlling it.
Yeah.
And then when the Ashantis defeated Dintra, everything Dintra owned automatically becomes theirs.
Yeah, you're right.
So what the Dintras were doing for economic benefit, whatever form it is, the Ashantis also took over.
Yes, and continue it. Yeah, continue it, because at that time you needed fire arms to expand your territory.
Okay.
That was at that time they were using the shield fighting, the local accoutrements, like the cutlasses and the things. Now, if you want to get an expanded kingdom or whatever, you need to get guns, ammunition. And this ammunition could be bought from the Europeans, the Portuguese, and the rest. And the only way you can get them is to exchange. Because at that time, the West Indies needed people to work for them. So, and the more guns you amass, determine how large your kingdom will be.
Okay.
So Asante had no choice. And continue.
So I want to just, because for educational purposes, right? When I started this journey, I mean, I've had attacks, or sometimes people attack other people because of the perspective of my storytelling. Like, I wouldn't say what I don't know or maybe assume. So one of the things that is lingering around that I think for history and posterity needs to be clarified a bit for people to understand. One of the things that is now moving around is that, number one, it said the Ashantis were never part of the slave trade. You see, I'm not trying to...
It's never never part.
That's what some people say. I'm not trying to, like, maybe blame or something, just for educational purposes again. So number one, people say Ashantis were not part of the slave trade. Number two, even if what they were doing then, others say that they just buy the slaves and integrate them into their family. They were never selling the slaves or never indulged in slave trade. I don't know your perspective about that. You've been in the palace for about 20 years. You've been exposed to history that a lot of people don't know. So I think this is the best time to educate everybody.
I wouldn't say Asante was not involved in the slave trading. I wouldn't say. The fact that it's like even our present government, corruption. The president himself might not be corrupt, but because his officers are corrupt, we generalize the NDC government is corrupt.
Okay.
Good, because Asante was at the realm of affairs. So any bad thing that happened, they link it to Asante. There were some bad people who had been bribed by their colonizers and they were doing the bidding of them. And because Asante was in power, they generalized it and say Asante.
Okay.
And also at that time, Asante was still, because when the was defeated, that was not it. Then we had his own, and then had his own allies who were also opposing Asante.
Okay.
You see, that is why in those times, if somebody is disturbed, the person was excommunicated, driven from the place, because he had his own followers who might also work against the new chief or king.
Okay.
So the person was killed or excommunicated. So that was how Asante found themselves in. Then the allies that are now, they are part of Asante. The same allies worked against Asante. So now they will do everything possible to discredit the kingdom of Asante.
Okay.
So, yes, so those people, when they saw that...
they saw the opportunity. They took it.
To dispose them. That's how I see it.
Okay.
Because if I see... Because Asante had a system of slave trading. In those times, we practice slavery, but at a different way.
No, that slavery, it was everywhere, because before the slave trade, there was slavery in Africa.
Yeah.
But the slavery we had was not the one we brutalized. So I read about a lot of them that, okay, maybe when you owe someone and you can't pay, you now give your son or your daughter, and then they go and serve until when the debt is paid, they come back. Sometimes they don't come back.
You are right.
And all those things. So yes, there was some form of slavery. And I learned that sometimes some family, maybe the man has died. So they are only left with women.
Yeah.
So they will go and buy a male slave who is a man to come and, continue and all
before you continue, there is this proverb or adage in Asante. You say, Asante Empire. Asante Empire.
Okay.
Asante don't remember the origin of anyone.
Okay.
But Asante appreciate the contribution of that person to the sustenance of the kingdom.
Okay.
Like you were saying, it came to the time because of wars. We lost most of the men. And the women are the perpetuators of the family. So they will need somebody. So right now, somebody from the north could be integrated into their family. They give birth. So if you try to trace the origin of every person in Asante, you end up even tracing the origin of Asante.
Okay.
So because of that, we say Asante Empire.
Okay.
You may be a Dagati, you may be Fantini, you may be Zamramani, or the rest. We don't care your origin. Your contribution is more important
than where you are from.
Than where you are from.
Okay.
So that was how we practiced slavery. But because some of the conquered states were stubborn, posing threat to the new kingdom, we had no choice to exchange them for guns. And the idea was that by exchanging them for guns, the same way we practiced our slavery was the same way they were going to be treated, not knowing they were going to be reduced to animals. So that was how it is. And the fact that Asante was at that peak and all trading activities centered on Kumasi, automatically, if somebody was doing his private work, they would say it's Asante. You see, it was an Asante.
Yeah.
Like the present day, the government.
Yes.
That is how it is. So, personally, I've also read some books. I did history, West African history in the first degree. And I know the slave trading in all the kingdoms were involved. Nobody can absolve himself from this work. So, yes, I agree with that school of thought that says that Asante was involved.
Okay.
Was involved because when the Ncha Kingdom collapsed, it was Asante. So anything that happened in that period, it was Asante that
were in charge. Okay.
And also, another thing that we have to bear in mind is, you see, if you look at the largeness of Asante's kingdom, that goes to the north, and to the coastal area, to Accra and the rest. Sometimes you need to be very firm, strong to be able to manage all these things. So those rebels who resisted the kingdom, the king and the rest, they have to be dealt with.
I'm sure some of the people you label as rebels, most of them went to Jamaica, because in Jamaica, you know, there was war between the black slaves and slave Africans against the British. And if we want to go into that.
Yeah, the Maroons.
Yeah, the Maroons. If we want to go into that, we'll not finish now.
You are right.
And I read about there was one of them who was a king, a captured king from the Akan tribes. But I don't know which tribe exactly he was from. And there too, he was a leader. And I mean,
so you see, like I was telling you, it came to the time, if your goods was not branded as Asante, nobody will patronize.
Okay.
Asante Mo, Asante Kwadu.
Asante Kwadu.
Asante Kwadu.
Hey.
Even the product is from the north. But to make people...
Why is it that people were afraid to patronize other products?
Yes, because at that time, the Nchira was the... If you don't associate, like, you have to prove to the new kingdom that now you are part of it.
You are part of them.
Part of them.
Okay.
So you can't trade anything. And Asante was very accommodating. Asante treated everybody equal, provided you are obeying the rules and the regulations. That is why it came to the time, even the Zamramens and the Dagombes, they were serving the court of Asante. You see?
Yeah.
How come when there's a war, an issue in the north, is Asante? Let's sort it out. Dabong, Namboko, Asante. Because when you come to Kumasi, the capital of the kingdom, we have all the tribes, other clans, other people settled at Kumasi. And their leadership is recognized by Asante. Which region in Ghana can we get Moshi Zongo, Zabu Zongo, and all the other Zongos, other regions? You never get it anyway.
Okay.
Look at those around here, Aswansi. All of them, they are very close to Asante. Why? But Asante are accommodating. Welcomes everybody. Asante appreciates the work that we are doing.
Okay.
Whatever.
You don't want to, yeah. So in other cases, like Asantes are not racist.
At all. So if somebody tells me Asante is racist, tribalistic, I don't understand. Because Asante was not formed by only the Asante people. We have other people, the Sampa people, the Wenji, the Raura people, they are all part of Asante Kingdom. Okay. They don't speak the dialect of Chi, but they are part of Asante Kingdom.
Part of the Asante Kingdom. When
Asante sit in the state, they all come. So Asante has never been, even where you are interviewing me.
Yeah.
We have the Northerners who are working here.
So now, I'll you see the Air Force Museum.
Yeah.
Can you tell me just about it?
The Armed Forces Museum, from that stretch, from the Armed Forces Museum, the Ghana Post Office, down to Mercom, that was the Deba ground for Asante. Big place. That was where our king, Mensa Bonsu, built the Stone Palace. The Stone Palace was built after Nana went to the Coastal War. He had seen the castles, the forts, and was so, wow, surprised. How beautiful are these buildings? So he decided that I'll build one in Kumasi. So he constructed one, completed in 1822. Then he had the idea of a museum. So he put all the treasures there. So that anytime he had visitors, like the foreigners, they come, they go and we show them this, what we have. It was as a result that we had this Segrenti War.
Yeah, that's what I was driving at.
All these people have all these things. What are you using the gold for? When we need them. So they came reported for that. So that place.
So the Segrenti War, like the
Seganatwasri War.
Yes, but we popularly call it Segrenti. There's the 150 years celebration.
Yes, last year.
Yeah, last year was the 150 year celebration.
So
okay.
The place was razed down. The place was bombarded, but it was after
by the British,
of course,
because they wanted the gold.
You are right. So they took and set Kumasi ablaze.
The British came, bombarded the stone castle,
yes,
and took the gold,
and
set the whole place ablaze.
So that is the Segrenti War.
Yeah. And
they took so many things. So now they have brought some of them, just a peanut.
Yeah. I saw some of them are in the museum.
Yeah, right now.
That's a peanut.
Peanut. Because they took a lot. At that time, Asante never used gold for anything. When you got gold on the street, you bring it to the chief. The chief will also bring it to the king. Then they will go to
the museum and keep it.
Keep it. So we had a lot. And Asante too is a king of gold.
So I think that time the imperialism was at its like
peak,
top notch.
Yes. So that was it because the Portuguese and the Europeans, they came here for a purpose, to explore the market, to see. Sometimes I tell people, if the colonizers, they knew where the gold were coming from, they wouldn't have named then the place as Gold Coast.
The Gold Coast.
No. Because the gold were not coming from the coastal area. It was coming from here, the interior. So we had been using gold, eating gold, sleeping gold, whatever is gold.
Wow.
So gold is around. So that's how. So at that place, that was reconstructed and turned into a palace. And it was at that palace that the British captured, rebuilt it. That was their administration. And Ghanaian war was declared. 1900. Yeah. So that is the Armed Forces Museum.
Okay.
Site.
Okay. So today, do you have any maybe misconception about the Ashanti Kingdom that you like people to know? And if people are visiting, like when I came here, I think today is a day before Ukude, or today's, and I've seen some elegance of, tradition and all that. And, the tradition is so powerful and nice. And I'm planning to be here fully for one of the Kweside and the Ukude. So is there anything, that maybe I'm missing out that you would like to talk about?
You may disagree with me, but the history of Ghana is incomplete
without Ashanti.
Because Asante is older than Ghana. Ghana is only 68 years. Asante is almost 400 years. So we have the tradition, the custom, the culture, very rich. We have organized system of governance, our justice system. And apart from the festival that we celebrate to bring us together for reunion and to remind ourselves the visit or the descending of the Golden Stool, the festival is celebrated every 42 days. To the Asante, every 42 days represent 1 month. That we have a festival called Akwasidai, falls on Sunday, that we celebrate. The Akwasidai is in 2 parts. Behind the scene and what you normally see in public. The behind the scene on the day, even before the day, a day before Akwasidai is Dapa. And a day before Aukude is also Dapa. Dapa is a solemn day, sacred day that we don't go anywhere. That is when we used to prepare for the following day. You go to the Nkunyafie, the storehouse to prepare the place. So the king goes to the Nkunyafie, goes to the Baimu, the mausoleum, where, you see, when the king passes, the body or the remains are not buried. The remains are embalmed, and we keep them there. So since the first Asante, we still have the bodies, they remain there. So Akwaside,
that the body has been embalmed is still there.
Still there.
Osei Tutu.
Since Osei Tutu, who died in 1717.
1717.
Yeah.
The body is still there.
It's still there.
Wow.
So the Akwasidai is a solemn day. Akwasidai is a day that we celebrate to observe the departing of our heroes, our heroines. What we have done, telling everybody that one day we shall also join them. But the kind of life you live determines whether you go there or not. Everybody will go there one day.
Yeah.
So it's just to remind us that life has its own end. So you like the way we celebrate the festival. Somebody you have never met for years or days or months, you go, you see. And also economically, you portray our kente, our dinkra, and everything. So Menshia is always full of activity. Apart from the festival, we also have days set aside that the king sit in state to adjudicate cases. That is the principal work of the king. He sits in state on Mondays and Thursdays.
Every Monday and
Thursday. Monday for Kumasi affair, Thursday for Asante. And sometimes even today is Asante. Today the king sat and all the paramount's met today. You see, sometimes it depends. So, but normally...
So can anybody at all come?
Yes, anybody can come and observe it. Or whether you comport yourself.
Okay, so it means like maybe next coming Monday, I can just come.
Yes, provided there will be a sitting.
Okay.
And there will be a sitting. If there's a sitting, you can come and observe. Come with your black.
You have to wear black.
Black. So the attire is black. To observe.
Why black?
You see, anytime Asante is in black, either someone is dead, you are remembering the dead, or there's a chieftaincy issue. Somebody is dead, and somebody is claiming ownership or the stool as his. So we are in red. You see, because it's through somebody's death. That is why we are contesting for the seat. So always we use black. Black signifies mourning, in a state of mourning. That is how, so only black attire that we wear at the sitting. So apart from the festival, we also have the days that I can, sit in state, and you will love the way the king settle cases. You love it. That's the beauty of our democracy, the beauty of our justice system here. The king sits in state with council members around. Before the king pronounces his judgment, sometimes he will set up a committee to investigate an issue. And they will bring the report. After reading the report, the king will realize that no, as for this report in the end, I don't think it went well. So I will sit on it. Sometimes the king, after the report, the king will say, okay, let me add my voice to it. You love it. You see, so that is the beauty. Sometimes you see some lawyers disguising themselves, listening to how Asante settles cases, no matter the case. And when he settles the case, it's final. You can't take it to any place to be overturned. No. So
you can't take it to court.
At all. No court can overturn the decision of the king. No court in Ghana. No one.
Wow.
Because I'm not saying because the king is powerful. I'm saying that before the king pronounces his judgment, he exhausts all the other avenues. He makes sure proper investigation has been conducted. Mm-hmm. He makes sure that even the one who is pronounced guilty is okay. He has exhausted all the avenues. Sometimes before even the king pronounces his judgment, you ask them, are you okay with the report? Are you okay with the proceedings? You say yes. That is why when the guilty is pronounced, he comes thanking the king. Thank you for your time sitting on this case. That is how it is.
Wow.
That makes it beautiful. The way he does it, you love it. And he's not discriminatory because he's the father of all the Asante people. So whatever judgments that he gives, he makes sure that everybody is satisfied. Everybody is giving justice. That's what the king does.
Wow.
So the next time you are coming to Kumasi, you are attending a funeral.
Yeah.
Make sure you plan your visit to coincide with
Akwesidai. Okay.
Or
Ukudai. Okay. Wow. So everybody, I think this is the end. We have finally come to the end. And I've really been educated in Kumasi and the Menshia Palace by Mr. Brobe. And I look forward to, coming back again with most of you to come and then we explore here. So if you want to come here, you can book your tour with Black Ivory Tours, and the link is in the bio. And there is more to learn. And today, I think that I feel very relieved and enlightened about a lot of the issues that we've been discussing here. So thank you all. See you again. Bye-bye.